Prasad, I'll wait for more 2 minutes. You'll give me a green signal?
Yes, ma'am. 2 minutes. Just.
हाँ, तू मला ग्रीन सिग्नल दे, मग मी सुरू करते.
Yes. हो ma'am. चालेल.
प्रसाद, मी चालू करू? 8 झालेत.
Yes, ma'am. You can start.
ठीक आहे, करते, चालेल. Okay. So today, first of all, I'm going to send whatever I have covered till date to Anand sir. So you can go through the slides once he sends it to you. And if any doubt, just let me know. Right. So in the next class, we can discuss about the doubts also. Right. So we have seen first what is a market, a place where two people come and you exchange value to each other. What are basic goods? What are intermediate goods? What is B2B business, right? So when it comes B2B business, it is customer, right? Where your end product becomes the raw material for somebody else, or your finished product is a part and parcel of one of the ingredients for other to make his product, right? Then we talked about what is entrepreneurial marketing, where you have to take a collective risk, a calculative risk, act proactively to find out what is the requirement in the market. You should be full of innovations, right? And slowly, once you become a small time entrepreneur, from that you become a private player, and then you become a public limited company. So this is what we saw, the flow of B2B business marketing. Then we saw business marketing is marketing of goods and services to companies, to government bodies, to institutions and non-profit organizations, right? Now, it is the same product can be sold from B2C and it can be sold to B2B, right? It is only the process of transaction is different, due to which it is called as B2B and here it is called as B2C, right? So we have already seen this in the last class. Then what are commercial enterprises when it comes to categories of B2B customers, right? So when we are talking about commercial enterprises, we're talking about indirect channel members and facilitators. We are talking about the agents, that is, and then we are talking about OEMs, that is the original equipment manufacturers, the end users, customers, right? Government organizations and institutions. So these are the different categories of B2B business. Commercial enterprises. In commercial enterprises, it can be your agents, or it can be the original manufacturers to whom you are supplying it as their raw material, or it can be the end users, or it can be the government organizations, or it can be the private institutions, right? So the same thing which has got repeated back again, right? Then we have seen the 4 types of competitions: monopolistic, monopoly, oligopoly and perfect competition, right? With that, we have also seen what is non-profit and government market, how does it comprise, and what is a global market, how your product has to be universal. In segmentation, we have seen what do you mean by a nested approach, which does not comprises of demography, geography, and psychography, but it includes, what you say, layers, and which comprises of demography, which is also known as firmography, operating variables, purchasing approach, situational factors, and personal characteristics. So we have seen what is demography and what is firmography, where it is the number of employees in an organization, or the turnover of the organization, or the location of the organization, becomes a base for segmenting the market, right? So we have seen this, and we have also seen that you can do the segmentation on the basis of tiering, that is the customer lifetime value, how long this product will be required by that customer, so that what will be his repetitive period of ordering, and that gives you the customer lifetime value. That helps you to develop the strategies with the customer also, right? Segmentation can be also done on the basis of the need and the requirement of the customer. So it can be need based segmentation, where he has a requirement and you fulfill the requirement by giving him a product that can suffice his need. Or it can be based on his knowledge about the product, so how much you have to create a need for him. Or it can be just based on his behavior, whether it is a repetitive customer or it is a first time customer, which we are going to see ahead in one of the theories, right? So this is segmentation based on needs, which is of three types. Need based segmentation often derives from what drives potential leads toward your business in the first place, right? So need based segmentation is it. At the same time, need based segmentation also opens lot many avenues for you, right? Like when you're telling, okay, this can be used in the machineries of pharma companies, so the similar machines are also used this type of industry. So if that can buoy my market, let me see, do I have to make any sort of tailoring into the product so that it can be fit into that organization also. Segmentation is also done on the basis of customer sophistication, where if he is totally unaware about the product, you have to create an awareness and need for the product. And the customer segmenting customer based on behavior, on their buying cycle, or their payments, or requiring more and more what you say, information, or having lot of hierarchies which needs to be sufficed, right from giving demonstrations or giving free trials. All this will come under segmenting customers based on behavior, right? Then we went for why account based marketing, why it is 1:1, why it is not a mass marketing, why it is 1:1 personal direct marketing when it comes to B2B business. Because it focuses on best opportunities. You're able to understand the requirement of the customer, make modifications in your product and supply it, or you're able to modify your terms and conditions as per the requirement of the customer. It supports sales reality, right? So it becomes more efficient when you're 1:1, right? You can actually demonstrate the product and show it to them. It delivers customer centric experience, because it requires to be more customer centric, because it is an industrial product where all the buying happens on a rational base, and it is a high involvement products. So rational, high involvement based buying is there, due to which it has to be customer centric. It focuses on the best opportunity by understanding the requirement of the customer, right? With this, we go to the next. What is the process of 1:1 marketing? So first, you identify the right account, then you market to those account, you pitch to them about your product, and then you increase the lifetime customer value by having repetitive sales and having a good rapport with the customer, right? So the entire process of account based marketing is for B2B. First, you gather all the information, you profile the customer, right? So you make a list, and the most potential customers are to be tapped first. Then you iterate that what will be your pitch or what will be your strategy for this segment of the market, for this industries, right? And then as per it, you prioritize, and then you maintain a relationship which goes on and which gives you money, right? So this is the process for B2B marketing. Now, in what do you say, B2C marketing, the attention is always, taken through attention, interest, desire, and action, right? An advertisement attracts, it creates an interest, then it creates a desire for the product, and the action is you buy the product because it's a consumable product, right? Or it is a product which you use it for your personal use. Now, as this is a B2B, you're using it for your organization. So the first thing is attract, then you measure, you analyze whether it's the best option or not, you search out for all the alternatives, right? Then you engage, that means you find out the authenticity through bidding or through tender or you know all these methods, and then it converts into your vendor, and then there is a development of a relationship. So segments connected disparate marketing tech is attract, measure, engage, and convert, where it starts with advertising, analytics, content management, marketing automation, and CRM, right? In short, when you talk about B2B and B2C, B2B is more complex, it requires more innovation, right? Uh, it requires less innovation as compared to consumer market. Consumer market तो हर 15 दिन में soap में कुछ ना कुछ variances आते रहते हैं, right? These are long-term buyers, they buy in bulk, and there are fewer behavioral aspects which needs to be worked out. It's a rational, it's a complex method of buying, right? So this is what we have seen in B2B and B2C, right? So this is the chart of B2B and B2C. The sales volume is greater, the sales volume is smaller, purchase volume is greater, purchase volume is smaller, number of buyers are fewer, number of buyers are many, right? Size of individual buyers are larger, location of buyers are concentrated, buyer-seller relationship is very close, nature of channel is more direct, there are no many intermediaries, buying influences are multiple, type of negotiation is more complex, right? So negotiation becomes one of the major part of B2B marketing. Use of reciprocity is yes. Use of leasing is greater, and key promotion method is personal selling, right? So all this will come under B2B and B2C difference, which we have already done. It is just put down in the form of a chart, which you will get it today, right? So what distinguishes B2B from B2C? Goods or services are sold for any use other than the personal consumption are called as B2B. It is not the nature of the product, it is the reason for the transaction, which is the difference in B2B and B2C, right? So just a few of the example, that if you buy a gear for your bike, it becomes B2C, but if it is bought for a machine, it becomes B2B, right? So B2B and the marketing concept. The marketing concept in B2B is it understands the customer needs, meet those needs with a coordinated set of activities. That set of activities I have shown you, right? The coordinated set of activities are this, right? And in a way that meets the organizational goal. So the basic objective is to meet the organizational goal by selling your product to them, which can be a raw material for them or which can be a part and parcel of their finished, right? So we are talking about the 4 P's of marketing here in B2B: product, price, place, and promotion. So when it is marketing mix product in B2B, right? So the total offering is the core product plus the financial terms as to will you get a discount, will you get a credit facility, will the delivery happen at my door or at your door, right? All this will increase the value for the customer, and that becomes the total offering. तो यहाँ पे discussion बहुत सारी चीजों के बारे में होता है along with the core products के features, USP, usability, functionality, even the financing terms as to the credit facilities, payment terms, delivery options. all this clubbed together gives a total offering, right? So that will become the marketing mix for the product. Then when it is the price, right? So price is usually market driven here, right? So price is the measure of value exchange and is determined by the market, not by the cost. So usually in B2B, it is a market driven cost rather than in B2C, where it is a customer driven cost, right? So the mutually agreed upon amount that satisfies both the sides in an exchange often varies from fixed price, which most with more special discounts and allowances in comparison to the consumer market, may involve things other than one-time price payment, such as commissions. Right now, here when you talk about pricing, right, pricing is also very much dependent upon if you're getting a 1 month's, credit. Automatically, it is a big advantage because you are able to use that money somewhere else. So that also becomes one of the benefit that okay, this is the price, and if you're getting a credit facility, then too the pricing is good, right? Or if you're getting a delivery which is in tons and tons, right? So even if you're getting the delivery, the pricing is getting, you know taken care of. So this all things will decide the price, and price is market driven, unlike into B2C where it is customer driven, right? So this is what we have already seen about the price. Now, it comes to the place, that is the physical distribution of the product, or it is getting the product to the customer in order to maximize the economic utility. So, how can it increase the utility, or how can it give customer value, right? So, it is in which form do they want, right? Do they want it in assembled form, or do they want it, and they are going to assemble it? How quickly do they want? So what is the timing factor also plays an important role. Which place it is to be at your door, or you will pick it up from the dockyard, or you will pick it up from the courier center, whatever it is. So it's form, time, place, and position. Who is the owner of the product in the process of transport, right? Where it is left the place from where it was manufactured, and it's coming to the place where it is needed, right? So who is in the possession or the owner of that product in that transaction? So all these things also gives the economic utility in B2B, right? With this product, price, and place, we are going to see the promotion. Now in B2B, the promotion is usually in the form of a pitch, it is in the form of a presentation, it is in the form of a detailing, where you carry a placard and you do the detailing, right? So this is what is in B2B. In B2C, it is in the form of mass advertisement. It is a monologue. When one person shows, somebody is talking in an advertisement, you listen, right? And the relationship is only, you have liked the ad or you have not liked the ad. It has created an impression or it has not created an impression. While in B2B, it is personal selling, right? There is a dialogue and the relationship is long lasting. The promotion medias are conferences, seminars, exhibitions. It can be even demonstrations, it can be presentations, and the direct marketing methods. All these are the direct marketing methods, right? So this will come under the promotion, right? So when it comes to the market structure, when it comes to B2B and when it comes to B2C, in B2B, it is a geographical concentrated market. There are relatively few buyers, but giving you huge businesses. And it is an oligopolistic competition, right? Where many of them are producing similar products, but they are giving different values in terms of delivery, in terms of tailor making, all these things. Consumer, it is geographically dispersed. It is a mass market with many buyers and with a monopolistic competition, right? Now, when it comes to products, what is there in B2B and what is there in B2C, we will see. B2B, they are more complex technical products, customized to the user preference, right? Service, delivery, and availability are very, very important. They are purchased for other than personal use. It is used for industrial purpose, right? So they're technically complex, customized to the user preference, Service, delivery, and availability are very, very important. It is purchased for other than personal use. Whereas in B2C, they are standardized, right? Sabun ki size change nahi hoti. Service, delivery, and availability are only somewhat important. It is only for the service sector. Like the product is made available to the shop, but if he's giving me home delivery, free home delivery, it becomes his outlaw, right? And purchase for personal use. So this is what will be the demarcation between products in B2B and B2C, right? When it comes to buyer behavior into B2B and B2C, B2B, they are professionally trained purchasing personnel. So they know actually what they are buying. There is no permutation combinations. Functional involvement at many levels. Many people are involved in the buying process. And the task motivates, the predominance of buying the product or not. In B2C, it is individual purchasing, family involvement influence, social or psychological motives predominant, right? So where the same example exists, I buying a television for my home and I buying a television for a company. Entirely, it is motivated by keeping silence in the lobby, and here it is a prestige, it is a status. At the same time, it has got to do with buying something big in the house, right? So all this will come under consumer buying and B2B, right? Now in B2B, technical expertise is an asset, buyer-seller relationship expectation, interpersonal relationship between the buyers and sellers is quite good. Significant personal information gets exchanged because it's a long time duration relationship. Stable long-term relationship encourages loyalty. Now this happens with B2B. In B2C, it is less technical expertise, non-personal relationship, little personal information is exchanged. Changing short-term relationship encourage switching, right? So once you may buy one product, no refrigerator in your house, you must have changed at least 2 refrigerators till now, and maybe that both of them are of different brands, different companies. So this is how it can, brand switching is very, very easy when it comes to consumer durables or consumer goods, right? The channels for selling the products, okay, that is wholesaler, distributor, retailer, okay. So here in B2B, it is shorter and it's more direct. Organization involvement is there of as a part of the supply chain. Consumer, it is indirect and multiple relationship. It can be wholesaler, distributor, retailer, wholesaler, retailer, customer. It is, many combinations can be there. Little or no customer supply chain involvement is there when it comes to channels, right? With this, we go to promotion. In B2B, emphasize on personal selling, dialogues, right? Most communication is invisible to the consumer. Consumer is seldom aware of B2B brands and companies. So you do not have to create an awareness about, I'm there in the market, because already they have done a lot of survey and are quite aware about the players in the market. While in B2C, you have to keep on emphasizing on them. I'm a new player in the market. I'm a new player in the market. So emphasis is on advertising monologue. Companies compete for visibility and awareness of consumer market, right? Price, B2B, it's a complex purchasing process, right? And it happens through competitive bidding, depending on the purchase type, right? Or it can be through tender. Through consumer, it is usually list or predetermined price, where you go on any of the portal, you see the price, you see the before price, you see the discounted price, and then you buy the product. It's a predetermined price. There are no negotiations happening, right? Now, whenever it is a demand in B2B, it is a derived demand, it is an inelastic demand, or it is a volatile demand, or it can be a discontinuous demand, right? In a consumer, it is a direct demand, it is an elastic demand, and it is a less volatile demand. because everything is set, it goes in the same process. Here, if the technology change, the entire things changes. At the same time, it can be that you're requiring the raw material only for the making of the industry. Later on, it is not required. So every time a new industry is being made, it is required. So it's a discontinuous demand. Only one time it is required, and then it's off the connection. So this is how it can be discontinuous, it can be volatile, it can be inelastic, and it is a derived demand, right? With this, we will see what it is in B2B when it is all about demand, right? So derived demand means the demand for a company's product comes from derived the demand for their customers' product. That is, more demand comes from consumers. The derived demand is a demand which is where people are asking or finding out your product because of that requirement. Where you have seen here, it is a derived demand where a new industries are getting set up now, new SEZ is coming up, and your product is required for setting up the industries. Like it can be a cement or it can be a steel, right, which is meant for high tensile steel, which is construction. So it will go out there, right? Joint demand is two products are used together and demanded together. Both products are consumed at the same time. So the B2B can be a derived demand or it can be a joint demand where there is a requirement and people are searching for you. It's a derived demand. And it is a joint demand where your product is in combination with some other product. If they are using that technology, your product will by default go out there. Or if they are using that material, your product is going to be used with it. So that becomes a joint demand, especially the lubricants, or especially which are add-on products which are required to run the processes. Okay, that will come under the joint demand, right? So when you come to derived demand, we'll simplify it in the form of an example, right? You make a headlamp assemble for General Motors, right? So consumer wants more cars, so automobile manufacturers produce more car. You sell more of your company's headlamp assemblies. So you're making headlamp for General Motors. If the car sales increases, automatically your order for the headlamp increases, right? Now, when the consumer stops buying cars because of the recession in the market, automobile manufacturers stop making cars, automatically your sales come down because you start producing lesser headlamps. So this is what will come under derived demand, right? Now, other characteristics of business demand are inelastic demand and fluctuating demand. Now, whenever there is a peak season and you're making corrugated boxes, so it is a fluctuating demand. Only during the seasons, festive seasons, the fluctuating demands are there. Inelastic demand is where it is, depending on lot many parameters of the what do you say, macro environment on which it is dependent, and due to which it becomes a inelastic demand. So you have learned all these terminologies in economics, so you can correlate it with B2B, right? Now, concept of derived demand, right? So nothing happens unless consumer buys something. Very true, whether it's B2B or it is B2C, right? So a demand is created only when a consumer buys something. So there is a principle called as acceleration principle, that is bullwhip effect, right? So it is like once you give a momentum to it, it gives that ripples, right? So suppliers forecast production on existing order rates. So as per the existing order rates, the suppliers forecast what should be the production. If consumer demand drops, the order rate also drops, right? Then supply chain members are then likely to overcompensate the difference between the old and the new forecast, because inventory levels can decline to fit new order rate. Customer change orders frequently. Minimum order quantities may exist, and trade promotion may influence buying patterns. So what is the concept of derived demand? As per your forecast of the previous year, you decide that what should be the production, right? But because of the market recession or because of some reason, the demand has gone down, right? Then there is right, or minimum order balance. All these things should be, modified, because you want to clear off the stocks, because you want to get the orders and replenish it with whatever is the gap created, right? So trade promotions may influence buying pattern. Minimum order quantities may exist or can be removed, so that even if there is smaller orders going on, it is still increasing revenue. Okay, if there is no money, extra money going for your transportation and changes order frequently, which can actually change your demands, right? So when it comes to B2B, understanding certain organizations and professional groups is important. So there is International Standard Organization, which is ISO. So once you are in B2B, understanding what is SI, what is ISO is very, very important, right? So ISO defines the technical performance for manufacturing and quality systems compliance of suppliers to this standard is required by global firm. So once you become an ISO certified company, you are a company who is following certain quality norms which are set by an international standard. And it is not only you, but all your channel partners, or rather your raw material suppliers, are also following it and giving you the material in that quality format, so that it becomes an ISO certified company, right? So it defines the technical performance for manufacturing and quality systems. Compliance of supplier to this standard is required by global firms, right? And then it becomes a ISO certified company. Then the industries that are targeted for ISO are usually the steel, plastic, the pulp and paper, chemicals, electronics, right? Because they have a global market, and that's the reason being ISO certified open the avenues uh, across the borders also, right? Now, when you talk in B2B about evaluated price, we have learned a lot of new concepts. In the last 15 minutes, I'm going to revise all the new concepts that we have done, right? So when we talk about evaluated price, that is the total cost of owning or using a product, transportation, carrying cost, financing cost, potential obsolescence, cost of failure, installation, flexibility to upgrade, etc. So consumers have same consideration but are attracted to deals. So when you come to an evaluated price, so this is a concept which you use in B2B, where you talk about evaluated price. That is, when you evaluate the price as to how much am I spending in transportation, how much am I paying for, what do you say, commissions, or how much I'm paying in the financing cost, or the cost of failure for installation, or if I have to upgrade, will the same technology help me to upgrade, or will I have to buy something new? All these things are calculated before buying any B2B product, and that comes as an evaluated price, right? uh, Sometimes you get carried away by deals, but in B2B it's more rational, and it is more, complex buying process, where everything goes as per लॉजिकल थिंकिंग एज टू इसका आगे मुझे क्या फायदा है, अगर अपग्रेड करना है तो इसी इसमें हो सकता है, या मुझे और ज्यादा खर्चा करना पड़ेगा, तो अभी थोड़ा ज्यादा खर्चा करके उसके अपग्रेडेशन के लिए आई शुड बी रेडी. सो ऑल दिस थिंग्स इज कैलकुलेटेड व्हेन आई डू अ B2B business, right? So next, when it comes to total offering, the puzzle of B2B consumer market is product, service, image, availability, quantity, evaluated price. All this clubbed together gives me the total offering of the what do you say, B2B, right? So when I come to the value chain, right? So value chain is a chain of activities that creates something of value for the targeted customers, right? So the chain of activities that creates something of value for the targeted customers can be in the form of direct activities, or it can be in the form of support activities. Now the direct activities are which are contributing directly to the offering, right? So when I'm buying something, it's directly giving me certain benefits. And support activities is it makes it possible to perform the direct activities, right? So all this, like it can be a free installation, or it can be my technical person will be sitting in your organization for 15 days to check if there is any problem, right? And will keep on helping people if they find, they get stuck somewhere, so they get used to using it. So all this will come under giving value to the customer. So I'll keep revising ulta now. Value chain of activities that create something of value for the targeted customer, where you give directly value, or you make it possible to perform the direct activities. The total offering can be not only the product, the service, the availability, the quantity, and the price, right? So the evaluated price calculates everything into consideration. It is not just कितने में मिलेगा, उसका ट्रांसपोर्ट का कितना खर्चा होगा, उसका इंस्टॉलेशन का कितना खर्चा होगा, अगर मुझे अपग्रेड करना है तो उसकी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है या नहीं, राइट? ऑल ये सारी चीजों को ध्यान में रख के उसकी प्राइसिंग डिसाइड होती है। मतलब ये मेरे को फायदेमंद है कि नहीं, इतना मैं पैसा डाल रहा हूँ तो मुझे बेनिफिट्स क्या क्या मिल रहे हैं, या किसी और कंपनी ने ना फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी टू अपग्रेड है, मतलब अभी मेरे थोड़े ज्यादा पैसे जा रहे हैं, लेकिन 2 साल बाद या 1 साल बाद I will not have to chip in a bulk of money just because I want to upgrade the existing thing. So all this will come under the evaluated pricing. Whenever you are doing B2B, you have to be well aware about the certain organizations. You're registered with them, and one of among them is International Standard Organization, which is for quality processes, and which makes even your suppliers compile with it. It gives you a certification on a global level of about quality, so the entire globe becomes a open market for you to deal with, right? So there is a bullwhip effect, जहाँ पे जैसा मोमेंटम होगा वैसे ऑर्डर्स प्लेस होता है, आपके प्रीवियस सेल्स के हिसाब से आप फोरकास्ट करते हो। लेकिन अगर मार्केट में कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आ गए, तो अगर आपका सेल्स डाउन हो गया, तो आपको कॉम्पनसेट करना पड़ता है आपका जो फोरकास्ट था, जिसके हिसाब से आपने रॉ मटेरियल लाया था, जिसके हिसाब से आपने स्टॉकिंग किया था, वेयर हाउस का अरेंजमेंट करके रखा था, उस हिसाब से आपको सब कुछ तैयारी की रहती है। सो आपको वो कॉम्पनसेट करना पड़ता है। इसके लिए आपको बहुत सारे आपके जो स्ट्रैटेजीज होती है उसको चेंज करना पड़ता है। कभी कभी मिनिमम ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी को भी निकाल देना पड़ता है, या फिर कस्टमर के ऑर्डर्स जो है वो फ्रीक्वेंट ऑर्डर्स अगर चेंज होते गए तो भी आपका ये पूरा फोरकास्टिंग गलत हो सकता है। तो ऑल दिस कैन लीड टू a change in your strategies, right? So whenever it comes to business demands, there are two types of business demands, different types of business demands: inelastic demand, fluctuating demand, that is related to any of the festive seasons, right? And it is a derived demand, which is people find it out for you. Joint demand, which is in conjunction with any other product. Then we have seen how it is a derived demand. किसी और की इंडस्ट्री बढ़ रही है और आप उसको रॉ मटेरियल दे रहे हो, अपने आप आपके ऑर्डर्स बढ़ेंगे। अगर वो इंडस्ट्री डाउन हो रही है, अपने आप आपके ऑर्डर्स कम हो जाएंगे, right? So that will come under a derived demand. So in B2B, the demands are derived, inelastic, volatile, and discontinuous. Price is complex purchasing process which goes through competitive bidding, tendering, right? In B2B, the promotion is more of a dialogue from both the ends, okay? And the consumer is seldom aware of the B2B brands, so they are aware about what are the